Thanks everyone for joining. My name is Clayton Dukes, CEO and founder of Logzilla. Just two quick things. First, I'll try to keep this webinar to under 12 minutes today. Second, be sure to throw your questions into the chat so I can address as many as we have time for at the end. As we get right to the point of today's webinar, I wanted to call attention to both the SOAR and SIEM solutions that are in the market today. While both of these have their advantages, each is missing one critical aspect that can benefit your network's performance. So let me jump right into that. A little bit about Logzilla Neo. So when we built this, we addressed three core problems in the industry for monitoring and managing network and security events. The first being the ability to ingest data quickly. The second, to the ability to enrich it in order to lower mean time to restore services. And third, to lower even more MTTR to orchestrate that data. So on the ingest side, if we take a look at the products out there today, a lot of them will say they're scalable, but what they really mean is they're not scalable. They are if you throw hundreds of servers at them. But that's not scalable, right? So one of the core focuses here when we built this was to build an extremely scalable system that can do on one system, one server, what it takes literally hundreds of servers for the others to do. Next, the ability to enrich data. So if I am a NetOps or SecOps operator and something comes into the dashboard, I have to go look this up, that thing up, and figure out what's going on, when in fact, we could have just done that automatically and enriched that data as it came in. Third, the ability to orchestrate is key. In problem management, when we see things come into the NOC and SOC, we have things that we've seen before that we've fixed before. So why not just orchestrate the automatic resolution of that? Logzilla indexes machine data in real time. You can see on the far right there's a system that's doing 11 terabytes a day that was on a single HP dual 14 core server. Our goal here when we built this was to get rid of that post-mortem analysis, the log tools out there that essentially say this is broken, go fix it, and move into a state of this was broken, it's now fixed, I'm telling you how it was done. And then finally, eliminating complexity. I don't want to be an engineer to build a dashboard. I certainly don't want to build dashboards for other people. This should be something that's easy and intuitive and can be done in just a matter of a couple of minutes. So as we get into today's standards of SIEM and SOAR and more, you've got network events, switches, services, everything coming into the system. It's inevitable that you're going to get these data storms. And here's the big problem when you have these products in place. Let's take a look at some kind of a data storm here, right? So you can see there's a sample Palo Alto dashboard. There's almost 20 billion events in here. 97% of these are duplicates. The first question I would ask is why, of course. But if we look at our source users and their locations, two things come to mind. One, who are these users? And secondly, why are my users going to Russia and China and all of these places I'm not familiar with? So if we click on the event, we can see that just one of these users out of hundreds is generating hundreds of events going to the same place every single minute. And here's what happens with all of the other products out there. Either they drop the event because they can't handle the load. You can't put 100 servers in your data center when you've only carved out 50 and you can't afford to put another 50 in just in case this happens, right? The second thing, and more typical, is that they'll just slow to a crawl. So in the case of something like Splunk, it'll just buffer to disk, but you're going to wait half an hour, 2 hours to get the results that you're looking for. And that's not usable either, because that's when you need these products to operate at that time. And the end result here is, guess what? If it's 97% duplicated, you're paying 97% more, not just in software licenses for those products, but in the places to store it and people even to look at it and to make sense of it. So if we break this down into something like Splunk, at 10 terabytes a day over 3 years, it's almost $80,000 a day to operate that product. Once you factor in the cost of license, software license, support, maintenance, add-ons. Now you've got server costs. Now you've got people to management. You've got power. You've got HVAC. You can only fit so many servers in a rack. Now you have top of rack switches. Now you have network engineers. All of that adds up, and a lot of people tend to not look at that when they're looking into which product to purchase. Incidentally, our operating cost is that small orange line going down. So we thought about this, and we know we have this wonderful patented storage mechanism. We've got the dedupe algorithm. We thought, how can we help all of these vendors and all of their customers save money and make better sense of stuff a lot easier? And so because we automatically do that deduplication, we can also sit in front of all of them as a preprocessor to any of the downstream consumers of this data. So you see the events coming in at the top left. Logzilla Network LZ Neo would do its job, and then forward to all these other events. Now, the immediate savings there is that reduction in licensing, but guess what? Remember the event enrichment I talked about at the beginning. They're now getting smarter event information, but less of it. So let's say that if we take the example of that 200 in a minute coming in, they would get one event, but now that event could have information such as we've already checked our user systems. It's an unauthorized user. They're going to an unauthorized country. We've already kicked in an orchestration process that went and blocked them from the firewall. So again, you move out of this it's broken, go fix it mentality to it was broken, it's fixed, I'm simply telling you about it. And finally, those systems downstream have a greatly reduced license cost, a much smaller hardware cost, and of course their performance gets better. Obviously, it's easier to index one event than it is a billion events, right? And last, it gives you the ability to ingest all the data sources. We hear this time and time again from people. They'll come in and they'll say, we don't send all of our logs because we can't afford to. And that's a shame. That's truly a shame, because you're not getting the visibility that you need, and you're being handcuffed by the product that you bought to do that exact same thing that you're looking to do.